4-0 away from home in a Copa del Rey semi-final. Barcelona just got absolutely demolished by Atletico Madrid at the Metropolitano, and honestly, it looked like a massacre. Diego Simeone's tactical masterclass exposed every weakness in Hansi Flick's high-line system. All 4 goals came in the first half. Julian Alvarez, Ademola Lookman, and Antoine Griezmann tore through Barcelona's defense like it wasn't even there. But here's the thing, this Barcelona side under Flick isn't like the old Barca. They've pulled off some of the most incredible comebacks we've seen this season. The 5-4 against Benfica, the 4-2 at this exact stadium against Atletico, the Copa del Rey final against Real Madrid. So the real question isn't just how Simeone outsmarted Flick, it's can Barcelona pull off another miracle? Let's break it all down. Let's talk tactics. Atletico Madrid set up in their classic 4-4-2 formation, but this wasn't just any defensive setup. Simeone had studied Barcelona's system and knew exactly where to strike. The key? Explosive pace on the wings and quick vertical passing to exploit the space behind Barcelona's ridiculously high defensive line. Atletico's attack was perfectly constructed. Ademola Lookman on the left, Julian Simeone on the right, with Julian Alvarez and Antoine Griezmann centrally. All 4 had one job, run at the massive space Barcelona left behind their backline. And Juan Musso in goal? He became the launch pad. His long ball distribution was pinpoint, constantly finding Atletico's attackers behind. Barcelona's defensive line was playing absurdly high. Pau Cubarsí and Eric Garcia were practically on the halfway line, sometimes even higher. Flick's system at Barcelona has involved an aggressive high press and a high defensive line designed to win the ball back quickly and launch quick transitions when possession is regained. But when you're missing key personnel and your midfield can't cover ground, that high line becomes a death trap. The stats tell the brutal story. Atletico finished with just 34% possession, but that didn't matter one bit. They created 2.33 expected goals from only 12 shots. That's elite efficiency. Barcelona had 66% possession and took 14 shots, but most came from outside the box because they couldn't break through Atletico's compact defensive block. When you have the ball but can't create danger, and your opponent scores on nearly every counterattack, you're getting tactically destroyed. The first goal in the 6th minute set the tone. Joan Garcia made a horrific error, letting Eric Garcia's back pass slip under his boot and roll into the goal. 1-0. Just 8 minutes later, Antoine Griezmann made it 2-0 with a composed finish after a move involving a key pass from Nahuel Molina. Barcelona's high line was already getting exposed. The 3rd goal in the 33rd minute was the blueprint of Atletico's game plan. Ademola Lookman scored after a composed team move in which Julian Alvarez laid the ball off to him, and he drilled it home to make it 3-0. This was counter-attacking perfection. Quick ball movement, runners in space, and Barcelona's defenders completely caught off guard. And just before halftime, Atletico twisted the knife. Lookman turned provider, cutting the ball back for Alvarez, who fired an unstoppable shot from just inside the area. 4-0. All 4 goals in 45 minutes. It was the first time since 1943 that Barcelona had been 4 goals down in a cup match. That stat alone shows you how catastrophic this was. Simeone's tactical setup was textbook. Atletico defended deep with 2 compact lines of 4, forcing Barcelona wide and into low-quality crossing positions. When they won the ball, the transition was immediate. 1 or 2 passes maximum, then it was off to the races. Barcelona's midfield of Marc Casado and Frenkie de Jong couldn't track back fast enough, and without Pedri's press resistance and control, they couldn't slow down Atletico's momentum. So what went wrong for Barcelona? Let's start with the personnel issues. This Barcelona team was missing 3 absolutely crucial players: Rafinha, Pedri, and Marcus Rashford. These aren't just rotation players, they're fundamental to how Flick's system works. Rafinha's absence was massive. His work rate, his ability to press for 90 minutes, and his attacking threat were all gone. When you play Flick's high-intensity system, you need players who can sprint relentlessly and still deliver quality. His replacement couldn't do that. Pedri's absence changed everything in midfield. Without him, Casado and de Jong operated as a double pivot, and neither has Pedri's ability to receive the ball under pressure, turn, and break lines with his passing. Atletico could press higher, knowing Barcelona couldn't play through the middle with the same fluidity. The tactical issue? Flick's high line requires specific conditions to work. You need pace at the back to recover when you're caught out. You need a midfield that can win the ball before counters even start, and you need attackers who can press so intensely that opponents can't even launch those counters. Barcelona had none of this at the Metropolitano. For the second leg, Flick needs to adapt. First, if Rafinha and Pedri return, that changes everything. Rafinha's pressing and Pedri's control would immediately make Barcelona more compact and harder to counter against. Second, the defensive line needs to drop 5 to 10 yards, not abandoning the high line completely, but being smarter about when to push up and when to hold position. Third, Barcelona needs to be more clinical in possession. Having 66% of the ball means nothing if you're not creating high-quality chances. Atletico's defensive block is one of the best in Europe at staying compact and forcing teams wide. Barcelona needs to be more patient, move Atletico's defenders out of position, and create central overloads to break through. Fourth, the counterattack vulnerability has to be fixed. When Barcelona loses the ball, they need immediate counter-pressing. If they can't win it back in a short time, the defensive line needs to drop immediately. Reports suggest Barcelona players have challenged Flick's tactics in training. The message was clear. The high defensive line against a team with Atletico's pace was not the best idea given who was available. And they're right. This isn't about abandoning Flick's philosophy, it's about tactical flexibility. The best managers adapt to the opposition and to their available squad. Stubbornly sticking to the same system regardless of context is how you get destroyed 4-0. Now here's why Barcelona fans shouldn't lose hope yet. This team under Hansi Flick has developed something special, an unshakable belief that no game is ever over. The stats back this up. Since Flick took charge, Barcelona has achieved 12 victories by a margin of 4 goals or more. A 4-0 win would take this tie to extra time. Let's talk about the comebacks. The most spectacular was against Benfica in the Champions League. Barcelona was losing 4-2 away in Lisbon with the game slipping away. Then they scored 3 goals in the last 12 minutes to win 5-4. Rafinha's winner came at 96 minutes, one of the latest winning goals in Barcelona's Champions League history. Hansi Flick said after the match, "It was a very crazy game. The most positive thing was the mentality we had. We came back, and that's wonderful, that's football, and that's why we love it. I don't think I've ever experienced a comeback like this." Then there's the 4-2 comeback at the Metropolitano itself. Yes, at the exact same stadium where they just lost 4-0. Barcelona was down 2-0 with just 20 minutes left against Atletico Madrid in La Liga. Julian Alvarez and Alexander Sorloth had put Atletico ahead, but Barcelona refused to quit. Robert Lewandowski pulled one back in the 72nd minute. Ferran Torres equalized 6 minutes later. Then in stoppage time, Lamine Yamal's deflected strike put them ahead 3-2. Torres added a 4th in the 8th minute of added time to complete an incredible turnaround. 4 goals in such a short time away at the Metropolitano. If they did it once, why not again? There's also the Spanish Super Cup final against Real Madrid, where Barcelona came from behind to win 5-2. Under Flick, this Barcelona team has won 10 matches in all competitions after conceding first. They have a mentality that previous Barcelona teams lacked. They don't panic when things go wrong. They keep fighting until the final whistle. The players believe. Reports from inside the Barcelona dressing room say the squad is convinced they can overturn the 4-goal deficit. And there's one more factor, the second leg is at Camp Nou. The atmosphere will be electric. Atletico will have to defend for 90 minutes or more with Barcelona throwing everything at them. Diego Simeone's teams are experts at defending leads, but even they can crack under sustained pressure at Camp Nou. So can Barcelona do it? Honestly, it's going to be incredibly difficult. A 4-0 deficit against Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid is about as tough as it gets. But this Barcelona team under Hansi Flick has shown they're capable of the impossible.